Hey, and welcome back to my channel, where we went over every single spoiler for the upcoming Raging Echoes League. League launches tomorrow, and I finally solidified my plan. Now, if you've been following along with me, you probably know which relics I was kind of choosing and preferring, and which regions I wanted to go. But now that I have my plan finalized, I want to share that with you. So first, I'm going to go over my region choices, which are Asgarnia, Morytania, and Fremennik. Then I'm going to talk about my combat masteries, which is 6 into melee, 4 into range, and 0 into magic. And then last up, I will go through my relic choices, tiers 1 through 8. Now, I didn't choose this order by any specific means of I chose my regions first, then my combat masteries, and then my relic choices. I think all of the choices for each of these three different kind of decision trees, as you can think of, kind of affect each other. I just thought this might be the best way to think about it. So if you're thinking about putting your plan together, just remember your relics will probably affect maybe your regions, and your regions will probably affect your combat masteries and things like that, and vice versa. And so don't decide on your regions first and then your combat masteries. Think about it as a holistic whole choice, right? Okay, so first up we have Asgarnia. What's an Asgarnia for me? I have God Wars, which has always been kind of like a staple fun thing that I do. I remember my first league where I tried to kill Bandos and failed, and then I came back and learned the game, and I successfully killed Bandos and got all the drops, which is awesome, right? In addition to that, there is Nex, which I think a few of my other friends are going to go Asgarnia, so it's just going to be fun to do Nex. And then last up, I'm really excited about the Dog Sword. If you watched my spoiler, I was just super excited about the really cool spec of that sword, and not having to farm every hilt and every shard, because you can go dry once in a while. Not that you'd go dry on uniques, you just might get duplicate uniques, which can be frustrating, right? And so I'm really excited about the Dog Sword. So Cerberus and Echo Cerberus are going to be really fun. In addition to that, Asgarnia also has a bunch of other gear like Void, Cerb boots as well, so all the 3 different boots. And you have, the Armorial Crossbow and ZCB. And since range is going to be my secondary style, it's going to be good to have those to kind of kill some of the other monsters. Overall, I think Asgarnia is kind of like a meh region overall, but it does have a lot of content and bosses, and that's what I'm really excited for, is just doing all the God Wars bosses and Cerberus, of course. Okay, Morytania. This is, I think, a fan favorite. I think most people, if you're following along the Discord, I think most people are voting to go Morytania. It is just phenomenal. First of all, we have Barrows, and we have the Clue Compass, which gives us an instant teleport to the chest. Now, what I'm thinking is I'm just going to teleport to the chest, kill a Barrows brother, and just open the loot and teleport out, and then rinse and repeat and kind of spam it. It doesn't guarantee a chance, but because of the drop rates being so high, there's a good chance I'll get it. And I'll probably do that for random Barrows brothers until I get a clue step for a hard clue that makes me go to the top of Barrows, in which case I can get to the top, target farm those bosses, and then get underneath and go to the chest really fast, right? So Clue Compass and Morytania are really good synergies. As I mentioned earlier in the agenda, there's a combination of how relics kind of affect your choices in regions and vice versa. So this is a great example of that. In addition to that, we have the Guardians and the Echo Guardians, which are going to drop the Glove of Damned, and that's just going to boost the Barrows items. Super, super exciting. I can't wait to do crazy amounts of damage with Dorak. It's going to be fun. Also, I'm wanting to learn Theater of Blood. I've never done it before, and so a bunch of my friends are going to go into Theater of Blood, so I'm going to be joining them in that raid. Maybe you'll be joining me in learning Theater of Blood. I think it's going to be a great time to learn. Like I said last year, leagues are really those training wheels to give you the boost to do the content, and so you can get familiar with all the boss fights and all the rooms, and so it's a great time to kind of learn new content that you're not normally going to try in the game. Okay. Also, Araxor is up. I don't have the Slayer level on my main account, and so I'm definitely excited to try out and learn Araxor, and then I'll be able to, once I get my Slayer, I think it's 87, so once I get it to, I think 92 for Araxor or 91, I'll be able to do that boss. So it'll be a great time for me to learn, just in preparation for the main game. Also, Phosani's Nightmare, I'm not 100% sure if I'm going to do a lot of Nightmare. There's probably some tasks and points associated to it. Again, I'm not sure if I'm going to push for Dragon. I'm just going to go for enough points to get all the unlocks I want, and as long as I'm having fun, I'll keep doing the content. So, Phosani's Nightmare is still a TBD for me. Also, Sepulchre is in this region. I've never done Sepulchre, so I'll probably try to do that. There's probably going to be, again, a bunch of points and tasks associated to it, so I'll probably try to do that as well. But overall, Morytania is just smothered with content, so I think it's a very good region choice to pick. Also really good for going melee, which I am. right? So in here, like I said, the gear is Barrows, we've got Justy, we've got Inquisitor. We also have all the mega rares from Theater of Blood. In addition to that, we also have the Noxious Halley, Nightmare Staff, and of course the Slayer Helm with the Slayer Master Relic. Another good reason of like relics combining with regions, where like the Slayer Helm plus the Relic are really powerful, and therefore you like Morytania is a really good combo with that. And of course the Gloves of Dan. All right, Fremennik is going to be my last region of choice, and the order that I went in my regions is the order that I'm planning on unlocking them. I'm still not 100% sure if I want to just jump to Morytania first before Asgarnia, but I still think Asgarnia is going to be a good first region choice, and then Morytania afterwards. Fremennik is the last. I think it's just going to be a really good place to get jewelry. But before I farm these Echo DKs, I want some base gear, which in Asgarnia, I have access to Void, and I also have access to Barrows in Morytania. And so I probably want that gear first before I get into Fremennik. Not saying that it'll kind of prevent me from getting to DKs, but it's probably a good stepping stone before I get here. So yeah, Fremennik has got DKs and Echo DKs. The jewelry pieces from here are the Amulet of Monarch and the Emperor Ring, and those are just best in slot for all combat styles, pretty much, right? So that's kind of one of the main reasons why I chose Fremennik. I also didn't choose Fremennik in the past, and I think this is a good time to choose Fremennik as a region this time around. It also has the Natiznat face guard. Now, this one's an interesting one where, like, if I go for this, but I can also get the Torva helm, I'm not 100% sure. The Torva helm is more damage, I think, than the Natiznat face guard, but this one is better overall for like Tribrid styles. Again, I'm probably using the Slayer Helm most of the time, so I'm not really sure if I'll go for that, but it's just, it is a gear item that is available here. In addition to that, we have Vorcats, so getting the Dragonfire Ward and then Dragonfire Shield. Both of those are going to be accessible here, which is pretty good. And lastly, I think we have the Venerator Bow from Muspah, which is also a really good way to like kind of farm like Abyssal Demons or do some like fast range training as well. So overall, Fremennik's a great region. It's got a lot of good utility. I'm really excited mostly for the DKs and the jewelry from the Echoes. All right, Combat Masteries. So I think when I read this, I was really excited about the Echo and just kind of chaining that. I know it's like a 1 in 300,000 chance to get like the 8 Echoes in a row, but even if I get like 1 or 2 Echoes with crazy Darox and Glove of Damn combinations, I think that would be really exciting, like to hit like 150 base hit and then Echo a 75 and then maybe Echo another 75. Like that would just be bonkers and really fun to kind of like one-shot GRAARDOR or something like that. So I'm really solidified into melee. Also, I think Theater Blood melee is probably one of the best styles to use in there, and so I think that's a really good like region to combat mastery combination, as I mentioned. And then I was kind of deciding on like what is my secondary style. I know a lot of people are going 3-1, so they just go 3 points into range and 1 point into magic, just because they're not really too excited about the heal. Now, the thing is if I want to do Zuck, I'm going to have to do range or magic. And so I think that if I'm going to do it with range, I have access to the crossbow and things like that. If I'm going to do range, I might as well just take the heal there. As I was thinking about my region and my choices and my combat styles, I realized that I probably will maybe never do magic in the entire league. And once I cover my relics, you'll know why. But that was my thought process. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to go 6-4, everything into range as my secondary. I think that heal will be nice for the few situations where I have to use it. Remember, also, you have to use range against the Grotesque Guardians. And so using the Carol's crossbow, attacking really fast with it, and then healing off of it will also be nice. Maybe I don't even need to like pray or like eat food there, which would be cool. And so that's what I was thinking. And so yeah, 6-4 is the way to go for me. Let me know what your choices are below. If you're also doing melee, if you're excited about the Echo, that would be really cool. All right, so going on to the relics. First off, we have the tier 1 relic, which is Power Miner. So remember, one thing is you can't just look at the choice that you're making, but you also have to look at the choices that you're foregoing, right? So I want to talk about like what are you losing and then what are you gaining, right? And why are you making that trade-off? And so Animal Wrangler, for my regions, I have no good hunter training. Pretty much my plan is I'm going to do some birdhouse runs until I unlock Herbivore, and then I'll do Herbivore. And like I said, if I'm going for Dragon and if I want the points, I'll go for 99 via Herbivore. In addition to that, I think fishing is just an AFK skill. We all have access to Karambwans. I'm also planning on going Banker's Note, and so I can just note the Karambwans there and just keep fishing AFK. With mining, even with the mining relic, you can't AFK one rock forever, whereas fishing, you can AFK. And in addition to that, I can also buy Karambwans, and so I can just buy my way to 99 cooking as well, and for food supplies like that. And so I think that's why Animal Wrangler isn't the right choice for me. Also, Lumberjack, I find forestry to be very fun. It's really good XP. There's definitely some tasks that we've already seen tied to forestry events, and so we're probably going to need to do those anyways. Also, same thing with the fishing. I can also AFK and cut trees. I guess we have access to use in Varrock or Edgeville or something. Whatever it is, that also depends on if I want to push for 99s and all those extra points. But again, you can AFK trees. You can't AFK mining, which is also one of the main reasons why to go mining. It's painful. I'm not really interested in doing volcanic mine for a dragon pick. You can do it, but you can still go dry, right? Like there's a chance, I think. Also, I really don't want to do blast furnace, and so this kind of cuts the smithing grind out a lot of it. Now, I know you get to drop a lot of ores and bars from bosses and monsters, but I think that like I'll use that to get a lot of smithing experience. In addition to that, I'll also just like AFK mine stars with this. I can also just AFK and mine essence with this, right? And so if I need to like max and get 99 mining, it should be easily doable with it. And mining is one of the slowest skills. And what this does is it makes mining pretty much equivalent or just as AFK as Animal Wrangler and Lumberjack, but even better because I can do it infinite in certain areas. All right. Relic Tier 2, we have Dodgy Deals, okay? So this one, Corner Cutter, agility is solved with the underwater chest that you get from thieving, and so Dodgy Deals is just far superior to that, and it just solves it, and I don't really see the need for getting Corner Cutter other than like the early experience times. And also this league, all of the combat and the drop rates are just boosted in the passive points, so you're probably going to be wearing those boots even less than you were last league. Right? And so I'm thinking that like I probably just will not need them. All right, Friendly Forager. So as I was thinking about all these relics, Friendly Forager is really just fixing your resource access problem, but it's not necessarily boosting the skill. Like it doesn't make herb lore actually faster, right? It just gives you like your resources are much more efficient because your secondaries get a 90% save, right? But you still need to get some of those additional secondaries. And as I was thinking about like how am I going to get my secondaries and everything, I realized that if I can farm them, I can get them really quickly. So I'm really going to plan on fixing my herb lore later with the Overgrown relic. But to me, I think Forager just fall short of Dodgy Deals because it's really a resource access relic as opposed to a skill boosting relic. And so yeah, Dodgy Deals, AFK thieving, which is a very massive click intensive thing. Also failing is annoying. So just getting the 100% success on that is really fast. The crazy XP for the underwater chest off of Fossil Island. That strategy has been covered a lot in Discord. Everyone calculated the numbers. It's supposed to be like 2 million experience per hour for agility. And because I have access to flippers from Asgarnia, it's supposed to be like 5 million. So absolutely bonkers. Dodgy Deals is hands down the best choice for me. And I think for a lot of you as well. All right, Tier 3, Clue Compass. Pretty straightforward. Mod Arcane said it on the live stream. It is hands down the best. I already talked about the Morytania Barrows Chest synergy, right? Also, there's a bunch of good unique teleports. We have the Shallow Village Bank teleport. Yeah, it's just the right choice. Go for it. It's going to make your clues faster, even without the clue relic as well. All right, Tier 4, Golden God. Now, this is an interesting one. So why not Equilibrium? I think I did Equilibrium last league. I'm surprised I actually can't remember whether I did it or not. But I think Equilibrium, as I talked about in the spoiler review, is really for the people who are going for like 50 mil XP in all skills. And even then, you might not need it, right? I think it's just like a all-rounder. Like you're kind of like frazzled. You can pick Equilibrium. But I don't see it as being like the best choice in this tier. So Reloaded is really good. If you go Friendly Forager, I think that's the best relic in the 3 tiers below. But like I said, Friendly Forager is really a resource access relic, and I'm going to be fixing my my herb lore later on with Overgrown. And so that kind of took that away from me. So then I was only left with Golden God, right? And as I talk about this is infinite magic XP, this is infinite prayer, and infinite money. As I thought about this more, I do have access to Vorkath in my region, and I will kill Vorkath. But I can use the secondaries, the bones, for potions instead, right? And so that also gives me a secondary going back to herb lore, which is another reason why I don't have to go, the Friendly Forager to like save those secondaries, because now I have another use for those Vorkath bones, which is going to be a good amount of XP, right? I think that's like a very minor detail, but it is very nice. Also just gives you tons of money to fix construction, which is, you just want like to max out your house house as a real quality of life as much as possible, right? So I think Golden God is really good for me. I also don't plan on training magic pretty much at all this entire league. I realize that like pretty much every content I do, I will either melee or range. I decided to actually get away from Grimoire also. And so Golden God is going to be, as soon as I get it, boom, I just turn on the Alch and get me to 50 million magic and infinite money. All right, tier 5, we're going with Slayer Master, okay? I talked about the synergies here with Morytania, it's super good. But Production Master, I think, is just an efficiency on production skills, which production skills are generally fast anyways. I've already kind of fixed smithing a little bit with Power Miner, right? So I don't really care about those added benefits there. And yeah, production skills are just fast. I can buy my way through most of the fletching ones and other things like that. You can, you know, get through the cooking one, no problem. And so that's really not a big deal. I have infinite money, so I can buy infinite, you know, raw karambans to cook at 1 tick as well. So yeah, I think Production Master is just, you know, less power overall than the other two. Now, Treasure Arbiter is really good. If you're not going to be doing a lot of Slayer, you know, getting able to do clues really fast. There's a lot of gear at all the different clue tiers, right? And so it's going to be really good to be able to finish clues really fast. They did say in the live stream that it's not going to be as many points or tasks associated to clues. We don't know the exact detail because we haven't gotten the full list yet. But that said, I think the Treasure Arbiter is, you know, considerable if you're not planning on doing a lot of Slayer. That said, we do have a lot of Echo bosses that are locked behind Slayer. So one of the best things about Slayer Master is as soon as you hit the level for that boss, like as soon as I unlock gargoyles, I can just immediately go kill gargoyles to get the Brittle Key first. Once I get the Brittle Key, I can go and kill the Grotesque Guardians, and then once I get the Echo Orb, I can kill the Echo Grotesque Guardians, right? So there is a little bit of step there, but as soon as I get the level unlock, it's boom, instantaneous. In addition to that, I do have access to the Slayer Helm, which pretty much just becomes my best in slot helm for most content. The only time I take it off, I guess, is during Theater of Blood, pretty much. All right, tier 6, we have Banker's Note. As I mentioned before, I'm a learner. I need to, you know, I'm doing these new things that I've never done before. So having access to some extra supplies is really useful. One thing I pointed out in my previous video, remember, if you're eating, you're not attacking, right? So you don't want to focus too much on eating, but it is nice that like if you mess up that you have access to a surplus of supplies than you would normally. I think that to me is just really, really good quality of life. In addition to that, with Banker's Note, rune crafting is solved, and it makes construction a lot faster. I can just go to the lumber mill and just make planks really fast. I can go to my house and just use those planks really fast. Again, super fast and resolved. I have Golden God, so I have the infinite money as well. And so it fixes, you know, 2 skills, and it gives me access to that learning curve of supplies, right? If you're not thinking about Banker's Note and you really want Last Recall, I do hope you're like a skilled player who doesn't really need a lot of support. And so Last Recall, I think if I was really good at content, especially going Asgarnia, I think Last Recall would be awesome. You just spam the boss with special attacks. You come out and you go right back into the fight and just spam a fresh new set of, you know, special attacks, right? I think there's some really good synergies with Specialist. Asgarnia has the dog sword, for example, so you just have a lot of power with good spec weapons. In addition to that, you have the Zerai crossbow, another great spec weapon with Specialist. So yeah, Last Recall is definitely not a bad choice. It's just, it's not going to solve that learning for me in Theater of Blood. And so that's what I'm just excited for Banker's Note this time around. Maybe in the future, maybe next year, I'll have learned all the content that I want to do in the game. And then next time I just want to do it really fast, maybe farm pets, who knows. All right, tier 7, Overgrown. So this is an interesting one. Let's talk about Pocket Kingdom as well, right? So Pocket Kingdom was the same kind of resource utility tool that I thought Friendly Forager, right? Both of these are resource access relics, so they give you a lot of resources, right? So if you don't have access to a lot of good herb patches, good mining drops or of like coal and ores, right? Pocket Kingdom would help fix that. Same thing with Friendly Forager, it would fix your herb access, right? But if you do have access to those, especially if you're running Overgrown, you can just grow them. And with the thieving, I can steal from master farmers, get a bunch of seeds. Also, Slayer monsters drop a ton of seeds as well, right? And I do have my own miscellanea that I can run on the side as well. It is much slower, but it will still help round out some of those resources. Like I'll probably just max out mahogany planks, and then maybe have some extra herbs if I feel the need. Maybe I can get, you know, maple and do it for fletching, who knows, right? So overall, I think Pocket Kingdom It doesn't actually fix the skill, it just fixes resource access. The same thing with Friendly Forager, and that's why I'm completely shying away from Pocket Kingdom and Friendly Forager. So why not Grimoire? This has been talked about a lot. The DPS boost overall is really minimal. When I decided that, hey, I don't actually have any need to do any magic training, and I will just train my magic with Golden God, that kind of solidified for me to not go Grimoire. I also do think like people forget that there's a nice little quality of life that if you're not that good at like switching prayers and things, being able to require only switching to piety as opposed to 3 different prayers at the lower level, right? I think that is a nice quality of life. Same thing with rigor and like the defense prayer, right? And so that is like, it is a minor improvement by having that. So I think Grimoire is still a good play, even though the DPS boost, people keep saying it's minimal. I think it is still like noticeable enough, in addition to having access to all the spell books, which is nice. But I realized I'm not going to probably use any of the spell books. And so I pretty much just decided to write off Grimoire. And that left me with Overgrown, which turned out to be a great choice for me. Like I said, I already have to do birdhouse runs for Hunter anyways. And so adding farming runs just makes leagues feel like the normal game. And so if I can just not have to do that content, that would be amazing, right? I have access to tons of seeds from all the Slayer and the thieving that I can do, and that I can just shove into, you know, my Leprechauns pack and just get the seed vault going and just go nuts with the farming, right? And that will also farm me secondaries and primaries, right? Whereas, you know, the Friendly Forager will save you secondaries, but it doesn't really fix the skill. At least with Overgrown, I do fix farming. Like this is pretty much a free 99 with farming. And so I think that's why Overgrown is the clear winner between Pocket Kingdom, Friendly Forager for me. And so that's why I'm going Overgrown on Relic 7. All right, last up we have the combat relics, okay? So these ones are Guardian, Specialist, and Last Stand. I did Guardian last league. I want to try something new, and I kind of regret not doing the Undying Retribution just because I am learning new content, and if I make a mistake, Last Stand will save me. Also, why not Specialist, right? Like I said, it's really, really cool with Asgarnia. You have so many good special attack weapons. Even if you don't get these, you even start with like the Burning Claws in the starter regions from Tormented Demons, right? And so I think Specialist is really cool, especially if access to good spec weapons. Unfortunately for me, because I am learning new content, I think Last Stand is just the definitive winner for me. It'll help forgive these mistakes. If I go from, you know, into raids, every boss will probably be like at least a couple of minutes, and so it'll reset and kind of save me at least once for every boss as I'm learning the raid, right? So I think that's really good. And lastly, I think there's a really cool combo with the Darox, the Grotesque Guardian Gloves of the Damned, right? And just being able to go into like GRAARDOR and just getting like 8 seconds of super juiced up damage and just like echoing and smashing GRAARDOR. You know, I don't know if you've heard me say this enough. I just want to axe, you know, General GRAARDOR so bad. And I think that's going to be really exciting. Also, we can do this with Vorkath. The 3-minute cooldown will be slow, but I think it'll just be really, really fun to kind of try this. So I'm really excited to try that. So that's all I got for my choices. Thanks so much for watching. I'm probably going to try to do like a quick recap video of every day and the progress that I made. So if you want to stay tuned for that, definitely smash the subscribe button. If you found this video helpful and maybe helping you make your decisions, definitely smash the like button. Yeah, and let me know what, you know, region choices and relic choices and combat masteries you're going in the comments below. Thanks for watching.